Turkey, a fascinating country of untold secrets. Join us as we explore this amazing destination. We're Lucas and Suhey. We're trying to travel to every country and territory in the entire world in search of unique experiences with incredible people. Along the way, we try to stay on low budget, get into extremely wild places, and seek out authentic experiences.
We made it to Turkey. This begins a huge adventure.
We hadn't originally planned to come to Turkey this time. The country has always fascinated us, but it's just never been a destination that we prioritized for whatever reason. However, we had spent the winter in Africa and were planning to spend the summer in Europe, and the cheapest flights had a stop in Istanbul. As a result, we decided to extend our time there and spent 3 weeks traveling this country, starting with the amazing city of Istanbul.
I'm walking across the Galata Bridge. This is incredible. It's a cultural center. People are fishing off it. There's restaurants under, and it's the heart of Istanbul. I love this city.
Suhey's father flew in from Mexico City and was crazy enough to join us for this adventure. Turkey is no longer the budget destination that it used to be, and it's hard to keep costs low. To do so, we use public transport and even scooters in urban places.
Estamos en una plaza de Istanbul, en el metro Taksim, y es hora para rezar.
A highlight of our time in Istanbul was the Blue Mosque. This is the Blue Mosque. We're inside and we're not wearing any shoes.
And as a woman, I have to cover my hair because it's part of the rules.
The mosque is free to enter, unlike other mosques in Istanbul, and they only ask that you respect local customs. We were really looking forward to visiting the Grand Bazaar, but it turned out to be a bit of a disappointment. Many of the goods inside were imported from China or elsewhere, and the vendors were extremely aggressive to the point of almost being annoying. We left and would not recommend it.
It's about 7 p.m. We've been in Istanbul for 4 incredible days, and now we're taking the overnight bus to Cappadocia.
Salimos de la gran ciudad de Estambul y fue mucho tiempo. Llevamos 13 horas en este camión. Muchas paradas, todos quieren fumar y mi papá ya está súper cansadísimo. Miren, lo destrozamos.
After the worst bus ride ever, we made it to Cappadocia. Look at this place. This is incredible. We're gonna spend a few days here exploring caves carved into the mountains.
Cappadocia is a large region, not really a town, and planning a trip there and choosing where exactly to go was a bit challenging. We chose the town of Göreme because it's surrounded by caves formed by humans 1,000 years ago.
One of the cool things about Cappadocia is it's not all touristy, and there's lots of relatively hidden, kind of secret caves. We just found one. We're going to climb into it. It looks very big.
A lot of these so-called caves were carved into solid rock about 1,500 years ago by the people that inhabited the valley. The usage remains debatable, but it was largely religious and also for shelter from enemies.
This one looks a lot bigger. Let's go inside. Look at this. There's like the tiniest shaft of light here, like it's a prison with moths and the crazy view outside. In here, you can see it's like, here, let's see if we can get some more light. It's a little bit more. They carved all these shelves in here. I'm not sure for what. They go back in this room. This would actually be a really neat place to spend the night. So while we're in here, look, we got windows to the outside. Got these mysterious cubbies. We see on the left here, that's the door that I came in through. Now we're gonna go through this passageway. Holy smokes. I'm sorry, but I have no idea how they carved this, like 1,500 years ago. No modern tools. It's an awful lot of work to carve out of solid rock. And voila, the $1 million view. Let's see what's in here. This was built, I don't know, 1,500 years ago. How old's the paint up there? I don't know. There's no signs. There's nobody here. How are we going to get down this? Do not want to fall here. Definitely a no fall zone. It's just absolutely incredible. Cappadocia. Welcome to Göreme. Sunset, filled with caves, amazing.
With incredible views in the warm summer evenings, Göreme is a place that any traveler can easily fall in love with. We were totally not disappointed and would highly recommend visiting Göreme. The best part, if you're willing to get up early enough for the sunrise, you'll see a sight you'll never forget.
It's 5 in the morning. We just woke up at 4:30, got out of bed to climb the hill for this view. Look at this. Hi, where are you going?
Carlos, ¿dónde está?
But there's plenty more to see outside of Göreme, so we rented a motorbike and a bicycle to explore for the day.
Hola.
Hola.
Plenty more caves and interesting natural landscapes surround the town of Göreme and stretch on for like 100 miles across Cappadocia. We didn't really have a destination in mind, but instead rode in about a 30-mile counterclockwise loop outside of the town to see what we could see. We weren't disappointed. The vast steppe, the wide open places on a beautiful cloudy day were enough to blow away any expectations we had.
This is a cool room. Not sure what it was used for. Probably something religious, ceremonial. There's a blocked off door, still some windows going outside. And then they have shelves here. This is the door I came in from. The coolest part though, look up. There's a hole that goes up to a different room.
We entered this building and it's like a maze, so we have to find the way out. So this is pretty cool because this is like a tunnel and this is incredible how dark it is. It is. So just imagine many years ago, they didn't have cell phones or headlights and super dark. So I don't know how they did it to go through this tunnel. It's pretty cool. Ta-da!
As our time in Cappadocia slowly came to a close, we began to look forward to our next big adventure in Turkey. We took an overnight bus to the south coast so we could sail the Mediterranean. Sailing the Mediterranean had been a dream of ours for a while. However, it can be really expensive, and the only way to do it is to look around for good deals. Boats called Turquoise offer reasonable prices and have everything on board that you could need. Places to sleep, decks to play on, balconies to jump off of, and of course, tons of people to hang out with and have fun. Heading down below deck is where we kept our stuff and would stay at night if it wasn't too hot. The bedrooms were surprisingly nice, although the bathrooms were of course basic. But hey, we're out here to swim in the water, not to spend our time in the bathroom. And the water turned out to be way more majestic than we could have ever predicted. The beaches in South Turkey are so-so, but the water off the coast is absolutely incredible. Our first stop was the town of Kaş.
I don't even know if it's a town, it's just a collection of hotels and tourist shops. It's a really pretty location and it's existed for 6,000 years, but now it's just endless tourism. And you can hardly walk more than a minute without somebody trying to get you into their shop. It's not what I thought. It is a picturesque village on the Mediterranean, but it's not really authentic. It's just tourism.
Turkey is one of the most visited countries in the entire world, so it's no surprise that almost all local industries have some element of tourism incorporated. That said, if you get out of the town, you can still find ancient ruins like this tomb in the lagoon of Kaş.
In front of the town, we have a couple deserted islands. I mean, nobody lives there, but thousands of years ago, probably about 3,500 years ago, the Lycians lived in some of these islands.
Lycians built tombs. They put dead bodies inside, and they believe when the war ends, it will be a flood, and this tomb will flood. To believe that this is God also.
Wow. It's hard to believe that rocks would float. I don't believe it. I think if the world ends and it's flooded and this tomb flips, I think it would just sink.
That night we sailed on to an amazing lagoon where we parked the boat, or should I say anchored the boat for the night, swam into the sunset, and then had what certainly will be one of the greatest parties of our lives, playing music, dancing, and jumping in the water all night. The hot breezes, the warm water, and the feeling of solitude out here in the middle of nowhere on the south coast of the Mediterranean was a moment that none of us will ever forget. We don't drink or smoke or use any drugs, so partying for us is dancing and singing. We sang so much that I threw my voice out and I couldn't talk right for about 3 days. But cruising on that blue water with some of the nicest people you'll ever meet was a great way to recover and soak up the ambience that is the Mediterranean of Turkey. It's completely safe, there's endless beauty, and it was warm, warm, warm. We never got tired of jumping into the Mediterranean. Our sailing journey ended 5 days later at a town called Fethiye. This is a popular tourist resort, but we weren't really here for the mediocre beaches or all the tourist shops in town. We did find a dog to play with, and that was a highlight. But more so, we were here to visit the amazing Saklıkent Gorge. This is one of the longest and arguably most majestic gorges in Europe, which is saying a lot. We weren't disappointed.
It's a really interesting route. It's like 10 kilometers long. Not really a canyoneering route per se. Every year it's different. You never know what's going to be ahead. Some years they don't even establish a canyoneering route, and if they do, it's usually just a couple rappels in the beginning, as I understand it.
As expert canyoneers, we were highly tempted to spend several days exploring this slot with ropes, harnesses, bolt kits, wetsuits, and more. However, you can't see it all, and this is probably the greatest lesson from Turkey that we took away. Turkey's a huge country, it's very vast, there's a lot to do, and you simply can't do it all. The more time you have, the better, but no matter what, when you leave Turkey, you'll be thinking about all the things you can do should you ever be able to return.